It began with a single message. Working late, don't wait up. Emily, my wife, had sent texts like that before, short, simple, harmless. But that night, something about it felt off. We'd been married 6 years, and lately, she seemed distant. Conversations grew shorter, laughter faded, even our goodnight kisses had become rare. I told myself it was just work stress. But somewhere deep inside, I knew silence like that doesn't come from being tired. It comes from being somewhere else emotionally. That uneasy feeling wouldn't let go. So, I grabbed my jacket, got in the car, and drove toward her office, desperate to prove my instincts wrong. Her car wasn't there. I sat in my own for a moment, staring at the empty space she always parked in, my heart pounding harder with every second. Maybe she went out with coworkers, I thought. Still, something inside urged me to check the downtown bar she used to frequent before we married, the one with the low lighting, the jazz band, and overpriced cocktails. As I walked in, the music seemed to fade behind the thudding in my chest. And then I saw her. Emily, sitting at the bar in a short black dress, laughing softly, her hand brushing the arm of a man I didn't recognize. She looked alive, more alive than she had in months. Her smile, her body language, the tilt of her head when he spoke, all the small things that once belonged to me. For a moment, I froze, praying it was some kind of misunderstanding. But when he leaned close and whispered something that made her giggle, I knew exactly what I was looking at. The bartender passed by and gave me a brief glance, maybe he saw the pain written on my face. I didn't yell. I didn't cause a scene. I just started walking toward them, every step heavy but steady. When she finally noticed me, the color drained from her face. "Mark," she stammered, her voice shaking. The man turned, confused, until his eyes caught her wedding ring. "You must be," he started, but I raised a hand. "Don't," I said quietly. My voice wasn't angry, just empty. I looked at her. "So this is where all those late nights went?" She opened her mouth, but no words came. The room felt smaller, the silence heavier, as people began to notice. I took off my wedding ring, that thin gold band that once symbolized forever, and set it beside her glass. It made a soft clink, a sound that cut through the noise sharper than any scream could. "You can keep it," I said softly. "It seems to belong here more than it does with me." Her eyes filled with tears. "Mark, please." "It's not what it looks like," she whispered, reaching out. I stepped back. "Don't," I said again. "Save your explanations for someone who still believes them." The man muttered an apology, but I barely heard him. I turned, walked out, and felt every step like a weight pressing down on my chest. The cold night air hit my face like a slap of truth. Standing beside my car, I caught my reflection in the window. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just breathed, slow and painful, as if relearning how. My marriage hadn't ended in a fight. It ended with the quiet sound of a ring on glass. That night, I packed a bag and drove to my brother's place. I didn't explain much, just said I needed time. He didn't push for answers. For the first time in years, I slept without checking my phone, without waiting for her goodnight text. The next morning, my lawyer friend called. "Mark," he said gently, "when you're ready, I'll help make it official." I thanked him, though my voice barely made it out. It's strange, you never realize how heavy love becomes until you finally put it down. A week later, Emily showed up at my apartment. Her eyes were red, makeup streaked. "It was a mistake," she said between sobs. "He meant nothing. I just needed to feel something." I let her speak. She begged for another chance, promised therapy, change, forgiveness. When she was done, I said quietly, "You should have thought about that before finding comfort in someone else's arms." She wept, asking if I could ever forgive her. I looked at her for a long time before replying, "I already have." But forgiveness doesn't mean going back. Months went by. Papers were signed. Life moved forward. I threw myself into work, started hitting the gym again, and began rediscovering the man I was before I spent years trying to be enough for someone who had already stopped trying. Sometimes I'd pass that same bar. The lights still glowed, the music still played, laughter still spilled out onto the street, but I never stepped inside again. Not out of bitterness, but out of peace. They say heartbreak changes you, and it does. But it also teaches you quiet strength. The kind that comes when you stop chasing closure and start choosing self-respect. The night I left that ring beside her drink, I didn't just walk away from a marriage. I walked back to myself. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than any goodbye.